On the other hand, if you are facing the situation of not currently being together, and maybe the difficulty of not even knowing when that might be the case again, the thing that you might be falling out of, referring back to the falling out of love, which is usually falling out of other things, you might fall out of connection. You might fall out of a certain continuity of connection. You might even fall out of interest. You might fall out of alignment, out of unity. Maybe you know this particular feeling that when you haven't seen your beloved for some time and then you meet again, you notice that even with all the Zoom and whatever meetings you have in that way, we tend to create a certain image of the other one in our mind, which then, when we do feel them and we do hug them and we are back into each other's arms, it is set straight again. It is then somehow meeting a reality check that might, on one hand, help to ground the relationship and make you understand how much you love each other and make you feel again the fullness of the other, which does come along with a deep connection of the soul. Or on the other hand, might also make you notice, oh, I do project a whole lot of stuff upon the other one. I had another image of the other inside of my head. This mechanism of projection, it's as horrible to the relationship when we are in one place together as it is when we are far apart. But when we are far apart, it is usually more difficult to create a reality check. It is much more easy to live in a certain continuous imagination of the other one, which might be either very unfair to the other one and lack transfiguration and lack togetherness in that. Or on the other hand, it might be a complete illusion that you are living in, that then the other one will have a hard time living up to, either when you go on the Zoom call or when eventually you will meet again. So the somehow remaining within a clarity of what is real within this relationship is sort of something to aim for when you are far apart. To minimize imagination as much as you can and to maximize a continuity of the actual truthful soul connection that we were originally talking about. What to do? Back to square one. If you are apart, your lesson is to be apart. Don't fight it. Take it as what it is. Make the best from it. This could mean for some of us that we might need to make very active steps in accepting the situation. I mean, one thing is to say, yeah, okay, we are in the situation. That doesn't mean it has arrived as a enthusiastic choice within your being to do something good with this situation. So try to find an enthusiastic choice within your being that says, all right, this sucks, and we are going to make the best out of it. We are going to take it as a lesson, and we will be together in it and find most wonderful ways to grow from here. You might even want to contemplate somehow the meaning and particular lesson of why you are currently apart. If we want to take it from, again, a viewpoint of Dharma, there is a reason to this. There is a lesson that even resonates, that aligns with this particularity of having I don't know how many kilometers between the two of you. So what is the meaning of this? What kind of attachments might the two of you have that need to be resolved within the space of being apart? What kind of illusions might you be continuously carrying around, which now you have a chance to cut the crap about them and realign yourself into a much greater depth of connection? What kind of distractions might you continuously indulge yourselves into when you're physically together? Is your relationship maybe very much oriented around the kitchen table and the bedroom, and now maybe needs an impulse of upliftment in order for you to reach a higher level of connection. Try to look at it from a viewpoint of meaning. What is the meaning of this? What are we supposed to learn within this time apart? What is the universe trying to tell us? Then obviously learn that. And best would be if you can come to a common agreement of learning that together, contemplating it together with a curiosity alive in both of you that is then allowing you to look at the problem together, rather than making it something that now stands between you and creates sort of like an opposing, conflictual attitude. Put your viewpoints towards the problem together and say, okay, we are both in the same situation here. What is the universe trying to tell both of us? How can we together learn whatever is the lesson here? Practically. Maintain both the unity and the polarity within your couple by actively creating and then also consciously maintaining a continuity within your common experience. Again, use the time wisely. In the same way that a couple that is now on top of each other can either make a total disaster from it or have it a wonderful experience, this is the same here. It is a moment of truthful, deep transformation if you make it so. And in this case, it can prepare you for the next meeting in an outstanding way. In the same way that when we are close together in the same space, we need to sort of really turn the wheels when we are apart to make sure that polarity grows, and then we are prepared to come back together after taking enough space and time to create that and then enjoy that. You are now in a situation where you have a massive amount of space and time between the two of you that you can now utilize in order to create a magnificent way of coming back together. You can create a whole life story of the relationship within the time and the space that you now have, that you can make come alive between the two of you if you have that alignment, that love, that dedication, and then have a wonderful moment of fruition as you come back together. One question that you can pose to yourself is, how can I use this time in order to become the perfect, even the divine lover of my beloved in this time apart? How can I, what efforts can I make? What kind of practices can I employ? How can I transform myself in a way that will allow me to meet the other one in a completely different version of myself next time we come together? Now, obviously, one, let's say, big pillar that a long-distance relationship rests upon is communication. So this is something that you might want to put a whole lot of attention towards and put a whole lot of effort into. Communication will, let's say, create a direct link between your two inner universes in this time apart. When you are spending physical time together, non-verbal communication will take quite a big load of what you usually exchange between your two inner worlds. Not even to say a lovemaking, which can create such a deep exchange, such a deep mirroring into one another that words become quite unnecessary. A hug, a really deep and warm embrace, a kiss can communicate so many things that now need to be put into words. So the way that you communicate at the moment, the words that you use, the way that you approach each other will have quite dire consequences for how your relationship unfolds and how that, let's say, this mirroring process of the two inner universes into one another unfolds. So see if you can learn to be better in verbal communication now. Go for nonviolent communication, compassionate communication. Look into tools of how to exchange with one another in a deeper and more fulfilling way. One thing that is quite easily done is to move from, let's say, more informative talks that you might have when you are doing your Zoom meetings or what have you, to an exchange that embraces much more the emotional body and even the astral body, or that part of our being that we usually experience when we dream, when we sleep. Engaging in this way, you can, let's say, create at least some sort of non-verbal exchange between the two of you. If you go from just very simply exchanging of, okay, how was your day, what did you do, to just asking, how do you feel? How are you experiencing your inner universe right now? And if you can then stop playing with I don't know what other things in the meantime, and put down your utensils and stop eating or whatever other thing you might be doing in the meantime, and actually listen very attentively and take in what the other one is saying and feel what they are revealing about their inner universe when they are simply sharing how they are in this very moment. So try to employ communication methods, and especially methods of listening to the other one, that go deeper than you normally do. Even when the other one is just sharing some informative stuff, you might choose to listen to what they are saying under the current of words, under the current of information. What are they revealing on their face, in the tonality of their voice as they speak about this? How can you sense them as they are giving these pieces of information to you? And even more so, even deeper, what is their soul revealing about themselves right now? Can you listen to the soul? As the other one is just ranting about whatever they had in their workday, can you listen very attentively to their soul and what their soul is saying to you in the meantime? This can create a very beautiful and magical effect between the two of you, where you again reconnect at this much more deep and lasting level of soul connection, where you listen very attentively how the soul of the other is continuously whispering poems of love to you, because that's just what the soul does. And where you become aware how your soul is just continuously commenting how much they are fascinated and in love and transfigured and wondrously stimulated by the presence of the other one in this world. See if you can come to this magical approach, which will then, let's say, keep creating a continuity of interest, of seeking out the other one, of wishing to be in touch, not just through Zoom, but on a continuous base throughout the day. One very sweet thing that you can do is to use this time for both reflections and connective exercises that maybe usually when you meet physically, you don't take into consideration so much. Once you meet each other physically, you might be more busy doing activities that you can only do physically, if you might get the hint of what I'm talking about. But very much often so, this might take down the engagement on other levels. For example, having moments of deep adoration for one another that are not jumping now to reach out and kiss and make out and do other things, but simply just contemplating the beauty, the amazing nature of the other one. This is something that now you can do every day, as many hours as your time allows. Share poetry, read books together, things that maybe in other times, other moments, you don't have so much time for. Make sure that within this time apart, you create special moments. In the same way that the people that stay at home together should have beautiful dates that remind them that the other one is not just a shadow on the wall. In the same way, as you stay apart, create special moments. Have little celebrative, even ritualistic things that you do together. Create moments that remind you of this special soulful connection that you share with one another, even if they are short. But see if you can do at least bi-weekly, if not 3-4 times per week, something beautiful and outstanding together. You can even come up with little creative dates and things that you share, that you show to each other, bringing to each other some surprising moments and so forth, that then invigorate this continuity of the relationship. Now, there's some things, and this is bringing us to the end of this exploration. There's some things that we can always do, no matter if apart or together. And one of them we've already mentioned with a bit more of a depth, which is this awareness upon the soulful connection between the two of you. And for this soulful connection to remain very alive, it is helpful to cut whatever is not nourishing that level of the soulful connection between you. You could, for example, put it very simply, stop what isn't working. If you find yourself in spirals of fighting and going back and forth and bickering about this and that and focusing on absolutely unessential things, take a moment and reflect, contemplate. Why am I losing myself into these petty little things that are so irrelevant to what is actually going on between our two souls? Am I just hooking myself and attaching myself to something that is just a story of a relationship, but not the actual real relationship? Am I just losing myself into these little nini things because I'm not taking care of some deep needs that I should fulfill, or issues that I have inside that I need to address myself? So bring yourself again and again back to the awareness of the soulful connection between the two of you, and then cut whatever isn't essential to that. It might throw you back on fixing issues inside, fulfilling deeper needs inside, revisiting who you want to be within this relationship, what you want from it, what is going on. But it will then keep your relationship alive. At least it is throwing you into a loop of figuring out what you want, which is much better than sitting there and going back and forth with all sorts of unnecessary fights and conflicts and considerations. Much better you have a moment of thinking, okay, and feeling, what do we really want to do here? Remember in this process that all the projections and expectations that you slap onto the relationship, they will eventually die away. It is fine, enjoy, if you want to play house a little bit, sure, but if that is not what your soul relationship is about, eventually it will just be flushed away by the tides of life. So don't build castles in the sand together unless you are willing to gift them back to the ocean. Then, very fine. You have an experience, and then another experience, and then another experience together. Everything that you are trying to tie to the relationship that is not based upon the soulful connection will eventually die. And that is also very fine, but just be ready for this mechanism to apply itself. The last thing that can never be mentioned enough, and we could have a whole series of talks about this, is to remain with your focus upon loving actively. Remembering that you have a beating, alive heart in the center of your chest that you can very well implore to love the other one. You don't need I don't know what university degree for that. You don't need the allowance of the other one for that. You don't need a certain condition for that to happen. You are a source, a fountain of love. And whenever you wish, you can implore that and give that out into your relationship. So a little rule that you can put for yourself, or maybe not rule, maybe better to say joyful, enthusiastic and euphoric challenge that you can pose to yourself, is to always aim to be the one who loves first, to be the one who empathizes first, to be the one to remember the heart first, to be the one to have compassion first, to be the one to admit your mistakes first, to be the one who humbles themselves first, to be the one who gives first, to be the one who embraces first. See if you can make that a good habit, a ground attitude of your being, of simply imploring the heart with all its beautiful qualities first, and then to see where the relationship can go from there. Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content on spirituality, Tantra and more.
And if you want to sign up for our online classes or for our retreats, you can see our website on the description below.